Alright guys, so we're back with what I think is going to be probably 2 out of 3 parts, just because there's so many pieces and I don't want this to be like a freaking 30-minute video for you guys to sit through. So in this section what we're going to be going over is, in this clip, is going to be parts 1 and 2, or section 1 and 2 of the instructions. And the reason I'm doing this is so that you, if you get this kit, you'll have a better idea of what parts go where. Now I do have to be honest, I do have a Tupperware container here of extra parts that were left over that I still don't know where they go yet. Mainly because the instructions are a copy, you can see up here that says Utopia Cast, but it actually says somewhere on here G System Shop on the instructions. So these are actually copies of copies, which are actually not that good. I did find some things when I was going through and separating parts that if they had done a good job on the instructions, there are some parts that get swapped out or changed out that they did modifications to, but unfortunately they do not really state that. There are some faint look like what were supposed to be Sharpie X's on instruction sheets, but unfortunately that does not really show up on a good example. And I don't know if you guys can see it, just barely underneath this part here there's an X, and on here there's an X. Actually that's my X. Oh no, I feel like a DTD. But there are some very faint X's on the sheets that were not put by me, marking off either parts that were removed or changed in some way, so they don't actually show up on the instruction sheet. So that being said, as I go through and build this, I'm going to have to find where all those extra parts go. So like I said, in this section we're doing 1 and 2. This is presuming that you've already built the internal frame, and then these pieces are going to get attached. Now this was another annoyance as I was separating parts, because it has you in theory separating out certain parts which were in the frame. It was very weird. It shows that it's complete, but it's telling you to add the parts. Weird. So, and another reason I was doing this, as you're aware, G System did this in a colored resin cast, which ultimately does make it easier for separating parts, but makes it a pain in the butt when you're doing it like this. So it's kind of a catch-22. So on this section over here is section 1. Very minimal parts. These I believe are for the front chest part, which this is where I was talking about in the last video. It's going to kind of get a little sketchy in areas, so it's wanting you to assemble this, then this section gets attached to here on the frame. We're not doing that right now. We'll just use our imagination as we go on, because later on, as we get into it being more together, it's going to be taking chunks, you know, section 5 and 7 and 4, and attach here and here. So I'll explain that a little bit more when we get there. So this is in block number 1, and like I said, this is going to get attached to the chest area, and actually this is part of that. So, you know, I did some messing around and some test fitting on parts. They actually fit together very well. You've, of course, on these have L and R on there, marked on there for your left and right, so that will make that easier for placement. On here, these are going to go together like so. I actually think I have that one on backwards. But just as a dry fit, they do go together very well. Not too much warping, anything like that. So this is section 1. This is section 2. This is the back of the chest area. And as I build this, some sections are going to have magnets to make it easier, magnets and pins. This is going to be your chest area, which goes around or encases your frame. This is actually your front part, and of course these aren't going to fit because I haven't cut the tabs off and everything, but they'll fit in like so. And then there are notches in here for the photo etch to be placed in there. All the seam lines and everything, not seam lines, I just blanked out. The grooves, they're in here. They are very clean. The resin is very smooth. I'm very happy about that. A few little areas that can use some etching in there, but other than that, it's nice. You know, you gotta clean up your regular flash. It's what you expect with resin. Alright, so when we come back, we will be working on probably section 3 and 4. I'm going to do these in chunks, probably 2 at a time. So I'll be back. Alright guys, so here is section 3. This is meant to be for the right and left side. The only part that is omitted is C06, and that's because that is part of the frame, or frame part, I should say. So it's in that baggie for the shoulders. You've got, and this is the front part and part of the underside of the shoulders. You've got these end up snapping in, again marked left and left, so they'll just fit together, go together very well. Could probably hit with a hair dryer or something just to flatten out those pieces, make them conform a little bit better. Again, very clean, very detailed. I'm really happy with how these look. Though I'm not painting it, I'm just doing a cleanup. It makes my life a lot easier, and in getting it all prepped, ready for the owner to paint. Again, one of the nice things is the vents are notched for the photo etch, and I think that's it for these. We'll come back and be looking at number 4. Alright guys, so here we are with section 4, and this is the part of the remaining parts for the shoulder unit. And as usual, split right to left. And one of the cool things that they've done is they bulked up the shoulder unit. I'm not sure if these are supposed to stay in place or not as of yet, but one of the cool things that I noticed when playing around is, if I have this in right, once this is all put together, it looks like, and let's see if I can remember off the top of my head how this ends up going. I know that this goes, which really didn't make a lot of sense to me, and still doesn't. There we are. It kind of looks like once it's all together, all the pieces are fit properly. I did say properly. Get back in there. It kind of looks like a dragon's head. It doesn't right now, but once it's all together, I had pieced them together, and yeah, it kind of looked like a dragon's head, which was cool. But one of the things I didn't understand was for this shoulder, so this goes in there. This is a vent, and I believe that there's a photo etch that goes in there. But other than the color here, you don't see that it's a vent. It kind of seems worthless, so I'm not sure what they're thinking on that part was. But it's still cool nonetheless. And then you have these shoulder parts that go on there. And then these were the parts that I was talking about earlier that are in the description for the frame. I've already pulled them out and put in here. All these dark gray parts are separated as they're supposed to be in the frame baggies, but I put them together for ease of putting everything together for this section. So this is the shoulder parts, and I believe up next we have section 5, which should be the armor parts for the arms. So we'll be back with that. Alright guys, so we're back with part 5, and this is all the armor parts for the right and left arm. As you can see on the instructions, they're all in white. You can barely make out what they are, except for one that is was supposed to be a light blue, and I think 1 or 2 yellow pieces that were vents. So for this, you know, the rest of the kits, it's all in that. So this is what it looks like all laid out. You have right and left for the arms. I think these are for the front and back, or for the sides. I won't actually know until I get that far, but I just wanted to show you guys what these parts look like laid out, and that's the main purpose in this video, is just letting you guys see all the parts, what you're getting into when you get one of these kits, and whether or not it's for you. You know, I love working with resin. Some people, they like looking at it, but they're not really into the time and detail that, and the heartache that it can take to do these. So I hope you're enjoying these. We'll be back with part 6, and I believe that's the back side of the right and left shoulders. So we'll be back. Alright, so here we are with part 6. Like I said, this is the back side of the shoulder unit. This is what the parts look like laid out from here over, each of the individuals. Roughly this, if I can keep it from falling apart, is what it's going to look like when it's all together. It's actually just for being, you know, pushed together, holding up very well. There are some lines here that need to be cleaned up, and of course some flash that is up in there. But other than that, the fit is very good. So that's it for this part, and there will be more to follow. There's actually a vent that goes up in here, which is that part, I believe. And I don't know, looking at, because the photo etch is on a different section. We'll get to that when we get there. But so there's that part. That's the back side. Now do keep in mind that even on the shoulders, this is about 1, 2, 3, 4. This is about 5 inches across. So if you calculate that, that's 5 to 10. This is about 13 to 14 inches across, if not more, tip to tip. So for a 1/72 scale, that's pretty freaking good. Alright, so we'll be back. Alright, so here we have for section number 7, very simple, minimal parts. You've only got 5 for each section, and one of the things I wanted to show you was the details that are on here. And we're gonna focus in. You can see how nice and crisp the details are. This is the back side. You won't end up seeing that, but if you want to, you can smooth that out fairly easily. So there's for that, and on to the next. Alright, for this section 8, there are actually only 3 pieces that are involved here. And you can't actually, well, if I shade it, you can kind of see that piece right there. But this is the front of the chest piece. As you can see, you know, you've got some rivets in here. You know, you can leave it up to yourself whether you want to leave them like that, or drill out and replace. There is a small, and it's not actually a blemish, or it just looks like, I don't know, there's just a little bump right there, which can be cleaned out. So actually getting onto it, so we've got this piece, and only because I had it test fitted like so, will fit up in there, and then that piece on like so. And and I'm pretty sure there's a piece of photo etch that goes in there. They don't have it on that part of the instructions. That's later on in the game. So there is for section 8. Alright, for section 9 here, this is actually the back thruster part, and there are some photo etch parts and some other metal parts that I have not put down. I've just put the thrusters so you guys can see. But originally there was supposed to be the white, the gray, and then some light blue, but of course those are going to get repainted. So this is your basic layout on here. I did kind of have it mocked up the other day, and then I just tore it apart right now. So see if I can redo that or not, because I cannot remember exactly which way. There we go. It should, there we go, fit like so. Then each one of these will actually snap in to the back of there, and then one of the thrusters. Now these are solid aluminum. The detail is great. If you wanted to, you could drill through to put wiring for an LED, which I think we might end up doing. I am not sure. I haven't gotten the yes or no from the owner yet, but there will actually be 3 of these. The holes are a little shallow, so we might drill those out, but that'll be perfect. If we're doing wiring, that's going to have to be drilled out anyway, so not a big deal on that. And then this one will snap on like so. Again, a little bit, there's just a little bit of what they'd call slag in the hole, so the pieces don't snap down perfectly in there, as you can see, like that. Not a big deal though, easy to clean out. You can either shorten this peg down or take a Dremel or something and make that hole deeper. And then you've got these pieces which will fit into the side here, and then you've got these armor plates, which, if I'm correct, sit on like so. And I think I have that backwards. I think it should be like that. But there's that, and I think that's it for this video. And then, just because I'm looking over and I'm seeing there's a total of 26 sections, so I think I'm going to break this one down and just do multiples, just so it's not as long as I anticipated. Alright guys, so we will be back.